Hello YouTube, welcome back to Kind Heart Homestead. My name is Ben and I'm up here on our off-grid property in the mountains of Virginia. Behind me is this temporary pop-up tent set up just south of our 80-foot by 80-foot garden fence. If you're interested in how we constructed our garden fence and what we've been doing in our garden this year, go check out our other videos on our YouTube channel here at Kind Heart Homestead. But the focus of today's video is how we're prepping to dispatch and process our meat birds. We have a short series about how we constructed our chicken tractor for the meat birds and how we've been raising them. We've had them on homemade organic chicken food that they share with our egg birds, which live in that coop over there. Unfortunately for the egg birds, we have too many roosters. But we planned ahead and we decided to order a lot of dual-purpose breeds to get plump enough to actually dispatch and eat, as opposed to like a Leghorn, which is an excellent layer, but they don't really pack enough pounds on there to be worth it to eat. So we're gonna have to dispatch and eat several of our roosters, including one of the Orpingtons that's been attacking our Sunseeder. We can't have that. So anyway, this is our temporary structure. You can see I have the plucker wheeled out. I have hose and extension cord. I still need to set up a few more things. I need to get some tables set up, and I need to attach the kill cone to something. Some people put them on their fence posts, but I don't really want to do this so close to our garden. There's a shallow little slope over here, and we're perched right on top of this hill. So when we drain the blood and the feathers and all that stuff, it can kind of go down away from our work area. And if it attracts scavengers and predators later, at least they'll be outside of the garden fence, attracted over here, and they won't be bothering our other chickens. At least that's the goal. So stay tuned. I'm gonna quickly set up and then we can talk about it a bit more. I'll be right back. All right, that basically wraps up the setup. Thanks for sticking around. So we have this 3-burner camp stove, and we've been using that pretty successfully for outdoor cooking. The problem that we've had is that the BTUs of this flame are so high that all we can really use on there is cast iron. So what I went ahead and did was I replaced the propane hose with one with this regulator on it. So even though the knobs are adjustable here, basically they can't go low enough to make us comfortable to use this for everything. So this regulator should allow us to really fine-tune that temperature that we need. And the reason we need this is because we're going to use this large stainless steel pot to scald the birds after they're dead, of course, to make it easier to remove their feathers. And then the next station after that would be the plucker. So I think this is capable of handling 1 to 2 birds. But basically we'll just come over here, hit that button, and then get all the feathers off, and then we'll set them on one of these tables to kind of dry out while we have another bird in the kill cone. Right now this is just temporarily bungee corded up here, but I need to put 2 screws in. I might wrap a few more bungee cords around this. These birds aren't crazy heavy, but they are heavy enough to where if we had a freestanding thing and if there's a lot of wind that we're battling, rain, things like that, it could potentially fall over, especially on the sloped terrain. So I wanted something that was really anchored into the ground to hold the kill cone, and I wanted it to be on a horizontal post and not a vertical post. That way, when we put our bucket down here and we're trying to deal with the throat and the dispatch, which is I guess a politically correct word to say kill the chicken, we have to drain their blood out. And this is going to help relax them, because when they're turned upside down, I guess they kind of just lose focus on what's going on and tend to relax. But from what I've read and in my experience, which is limited so far because I've only dispatched, I think, 2 or 3 birds, if you cut them in the right spot, the blood drains from their brain and they can't really feel what's going on. And all of the convulsing and kicking that happens is involuntary. They're not choosing to do that. It's just reflexive. That's where the term chicken with the head cut off comes from. In the olden days, the mom or dad on the homestead would go out to a tree stump and just cut the head off with an axe, and then the chicken was known to keep running around. They're not going to have that ability to run because they'll be up here, and I could even have like a flap or a bungee cord or something to really keep their feet down so they can't really pop out. But once they're down through here, we can do what we need to do, drain them down into a bucket, and there won't be any vertical posts interfering with that ability. This is a decent sized 2x4. I just grabbed one from a stockpile of old boards I have under the shipping container, and this is the perfect width. So not only do these T-posts hold up that board, but I'm also anchoring our pop-up tent to the T-posts because we always get surprise winds up here. And I wouldn't be surprised if this thing just took off while we're in the middle of working. Because we've never done this before, I want to set everything up the day before, which is today. And we're not going to have time to deal with that kind of stuff tomorrow because one of us has to take Cedar to school and pick him back up from school. And we want to try to knock all the stuff out between those two time frames if possible. So let me walk you through a bit more of the equipment. Obviously, we're going to have our knives out, maybe a sharpener. But we have propane tank for the scalding pot. We have some bleach because we need to dilute bleach with water to sterilize our equipment. Everything I've read seems to suggest that general cleaning solutions are good to loosen up any sort of dirt or grime that's on our equipment, but the only way to really sterilize it is to use bleach or some sort of commercial poultry equipment cleaner, which we don't really have time to look for or buy right now because we're setting up for tomorrow. So we're gonna try to clean all the surfaces of everything with some diluted bleach. I don't know if we need all these tables, but we just got these for free, and I'll just set them up and see what happens with them. Ideally, we'd have some sort of stainless steel surfaces, things that'll be easier to clean, but if we just have to get rid of these afterwards, I wouldn't feel too bad about it. And we have this big cooler here, which we also got for free because it's kind of messed up. The buckle that keeps the lid closed is broken off, but it should be plenty big just for ice water. And we've been freezing ice in ice trays over the past week or two in the freezer that we have in the camper behind me. And every day we go in and we dump the ice out into a bucket, which is also in the freezer. That bucket's full, so we've been filling up random other kitchen containers in the freezer. But basically what we need to do is after all of these birds are dispatched and gutted, they need to be chilled for several hours before they can be frozen. And that has to do with the consistency of the meat. People who don't let the bird rest before they freeze it tend to complain about the meat being very tough. And we're already using a tougher breed of bird. These are rangers, they're not Cornish crosses. Cornish cross is what you'd find like 99% of grocery stores and restaurants across the country. Those are selectively bred to pack on the most breast meat as possible in the shortest amount of time to reduce feed costs. Unfortunately, those birds are prone to having heart attacks and dying and breaking their legs under the weight of their breasts before they're ready to be dispatched. And we want our birds to be as healthy as possible and have a good life. They're able to free range. It's kind of cloudy and rainy today and they're all inside, but that gate is open and they can go out and do whatever they want to do, forage for themselves. And we do feed them every day. I typically feed them twice a day. I give them breakfast and dinner. And one of the rules for meat birds is you want to stop feeding them 12 hours before dispatch. So tonight, when I put them to bed, I'm going to remove their feed trough from the chicken tractor. So like 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. will be their no food time frame. And then we'll start dispatching them bright and early. But I think we're going to try to start with the roosters of the other flock. And I'm not exactly sure how we're going to differentiate them and keep them separate. But we'll figure something out. I had an idea. Maybe we can wrap a rubber band around their leg after we pluck them. So when they're chilling in the ice bath and things like that, we can keep track of them. I'm just interested to see what the consistency is like when you compare a free-range egg layer who spent its whole life eating bugs and things like that versus a selectively bred meat bird. And we don't have any Cornish crosses to compare it to, but we've had plenty of experience buying those from grocery stores. We typically get a 2-pack of organic chickens from Costco, and we always cook our chickens whole. So we kind of have a good baseline of the flavors that we're used to. So the order of operations will be kill cone, scalder, plucker, butchering, and gutting. We don't really need to do butchering in the conventional sense because we're freezing our birds whole. And then some more equipment, I guess you could call it consumables that we have inside, are these freezer bags that are designed to shrink when they're submerged in hot water. And that helps squeeze all the air out of the whole chicken, and we'll zip tie it closed with a little straw sticking out of it so that air has somewhere to go. Then we pull the straw, crank the zip tie, and then it's ready to go in the fridge. So I have a whole bundle of those bags that I ordered a few months ago when I ordered some other equipment, and I hope they're big enough. They do sell all these things in different sizes. There's kill cones for different sizes of poultry, different bags, and we're also going to need a bunch of 5-gallon buckets for the guts and the blood and things like that. My idea is just for the blood to kind of run down this way, and I can dump that bucket out as we see fit. But we're also going to have guts that we need to figure out what to do with. We don't put meat and meat products in our compost because we don't want to attract a bunch of scavengers. If we had a worm composting bin, that would be a good candidate because those are usually closed to keep water out of them. So we're gonna have to figure out what to do with the guts. We don't have any other animals to feed them to, and I feel kind of weird about feeding chicken. We're also gonna need like a basket or one of those like milk crates. We have a bunch of them lying around, and that's something I saw other homesteaders do under their plucker. So when all the feathers shoot out, the water can escape through the little grid in the basket, but the feathers will stay contained in there, and then we can go dump those in the compost or move them somewhere else. And then the benefit of this little slope here is as all of those fluids drain, they'll stay out of our work area and kind of go down the hill here where that tripod is. So anyway, we're probably gonna have a part 2 and a part 3 of this video. Part 2 is going to be probably mostly time lapse of us doing the actual dispatch and all that stuff. Obviously I'm gonna have to cut some parts out because of the terms of YouTube videos. But if you want to see that type of stuff, you can contact us and we can try to arrange some sort of private exchange of information or video footage. And a third part, if we can manage that, is probably going to be us reflecting on how this worked for us. This is our first time doing this on our property. Angie and I are probably going to try to collaborate and see what each of us feel more comfortable doing, how to pass tasks back and forth between each other. So if you want to see any of that stuff, go ahead and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you back here next time on Kind Heart Homestead.